everybody, welcome to the show. On this episode of Will Talks, we have Mr. Joe Davidson. This is going to be a fun one, I can tell you that. We got some surprises in store for all of you this time. So this is going to be awesome. Let's get going. So, hey, Mr. Joe, how are you?
Hey, Will, I'm doing awesome, man. Thanks so much for letting me be on your channel. I'm so excited to be here with you.
You're welcome. And I'm excited for you to be here. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's an honor, man.
Okay. Well, I have a question. Can you tell the audience and me a little bit about yourself and your ministry?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Joe Davidson. I'm married. I've been married for about 15 years, and my wife and I have 4 kids. We have 3 boys and a girl, and we are in full-time ministry, which is funny because I never thought that I would actually be in full-time ministry, but we right now, we work with a lot of different churches. So I've been a part of the same church that you guys used to go to when you lived in our area. We've been a part of that same church for about 17 years now, but our heart is really to be connected with lots of other churches and ministries and other awesome organizations that are doing amazing things around where we live. So that's what our ministry does. And it's really not my ministry. I can't take credit for it. But it's something that I'm super excited about. It's called the Agape Center. And it actually started in a place called Moneta, Virginia, which is really, really small. There's hardly well, compared to like a big city, there's hardly anybody that lives here. But they started trying to help people in their area. So they started giving away food and clothing to people. And it grew and grew and grew. And they started giving away other things beyond food and clothing. They started doing firewood. They started doing furniture and appliances. And the whole time they started doing that, they started doing mentoring. Now, that's just a fancy, you know what mentoring is, but really, it's just another word for being a really good friend. So we don't want to just give things away to people. That's nice and that's helpful. We want to do that, but we don't want to just do that. We want to build friendships and relationships, right? So that's what our ministry is all about. The Agape Center, first and foremost, is about helping people return to a Christ-centered life through empowering, mentoring relationships while we're being led by the Holy Spirit. So it's very exciting. I could probably talk about it all day, so I don't want to take up too much of your time talking about it, but I can tell you this. We are starting an Agape Center where we live in the New River Valley. And our goal, there's about almost 200,000 people that live in our area, and we want to be able to serve those people through meeting their needs physically, but also building awesome relationships with them and just encouraging them in their walk with the Lord. So, yeah.
Wow, that is really interesting and amazing. That is just awesome. I love it so much. You know, it's just great that you're all helping each other, like you said, and that you are starting an Agape Center where you live. That's great too. And I have heard that you have traveled with your family in an RV. What was it like?
That is true. So one of our dreams was to actually live in an RV and just travel the country. Well, last year we had an opportunity to begin taking steps towards that dream. We love going on missions trips. I really believe in being able to go on short-term mission trips, traveling even if it's in your own country or a different country. And we had lots of opportunities last summer. And as we were praying about those, my wife and I, we were asking God, where should we go to serve people? And you know what we started dreaming about, Will?
What?
We started dreaming about being in an RV. And we said, man, what if we had an RV and we just hopped in it, and every day we prayed and said, God, where do you want us to go? And then we just went. Like, wouldn't that be wild to pack our family of 6 in a car, hook up an RV, and just drive wherever the Lord tells us to go? So we were super excited about it. We shared that idea with a family member of ours, and you're not going to believe this. Guess what happened, Will?
What?
That exact day, they gave us a camper.
Whoa.
It was crazy. And that was the beginning of many miracles that happened. We found the perfect truck to be able to haul it that still fit our family and could haul the camper. And we found it at the craziest price. It was a miracle that we were able to get that truck. I mean, we had somebody give us the hitch that we needed. They heard I was going to go buy it from them. I told them the story of what God was doing. And they said, well, hey, I want to be a part of that story. I'm going to give you the hitch. So they just gave us the hitch. So it was all so exciting up until the day that we actually had to leave. And it was like when we got ready and we got in the car, we got everything packed up. We had been spending weeks preparing. It's a lot of work to get ready to go on a big camping trip. And we got in the car, and I'm not going to lie, Will, I was terrified because we only knew we had one place to go, and that was Kentucky. And we were going to go to a children's home there that we had done ministry at. So we were going to go spend the weekend at this children's home, which I was super excited about that. But I was like, what is going to happen afterwards? What if we don't know where to go? What if we make a mistake? What if we have a hard time hearing God? What if God doesn't speak? There were just so many questions and concerns that we were worried about, but it really took a step of faith to step out. So that's all we could do. We just took it one day at a time, and God was so faithful to clearly give us indicators of where he wanted us to go and when. And I could just sit here and unpack and tell you miracle after miracle after miracle of how that happened. And in fact, you guys were one of those miracles. We actually got to stop and see you guys in your new home. You had just moved in, and we got to see you guys because, you know, we missed you, and we weren't going to get to see you for quite a while. So it was so awesome to be able to stop and spend time with you guys in Florida.
Yeah, I remember that. And I can also see that you're in your RV right now.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that is so awesome how God performed all those miracles for you and how you just had that idea. And I think it's amazing. So like you were saying, you went to a lot of places. Where did you go, if you remember?
Well, yeah, I'll try to best I can unpack that. So we left our house in Virginia and we went to Kentucky and up in the mountains of eastern Kentucky, and we served there and spent time with friends at a children's home for about 3 days. From there, we went to Boone, North Carolina, and we spent some time with a few of other friends of ours. They're pastors of a local church there in Boone. Had an awesome time, and God was just doing really cool things there in Boone that we got to be a part of. Then we went and visited some friends of ours near Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and spent the night there. Then we went just south of Charlotte, North Carolina, and we actually got to go visit the Billy Graham Library. If you haven't been there, I would highly recommend going. It's just an incredible place. I mean, Billy Graham had such a remarkable impact on our country's history, on the world's history. And it's all free. So you can go there and learn about his life, learn about his passion, which was sharing the gospel. And, you know, I like to share the gospel. So it was so meaningful for me to be able to learn from him and his life. So we went there. From there, we went down all the way to near Savannah area. And we stayed just south of Savannah, Georgia, and got to stay in a state park. We did a lot of state park camping, which if you're new or considering RVing, I would highly recommend being able to stay at state parks if possible. They're cheaper, and they just tend to be more wooded. They have opportunity for like seclusion, you know, and that type of thing. It was a good fit for us, so we really liked that. Then we stayed in a couple state parks there. Then we went down to you guys, stayed with you guys for a few days. And before then we went through Flagler Beach, went all the way down through Florida, down to our friends in Jupiter, and hung out with them for a while. And then ultimately went back north. We made our way through Tallahassee. We stayed one night in Tallahassee. God did something very cool there. I don't know how much time we have, so you tell me if you want to hear that story, but the Tallahassee story. Then we went on to Louisiana, and we stayed in a few spots along the panhandle of Florida on the way. Beautiful places. Really enjoyed it. Had some really cool God encounters. And then from Louisiana, we visited family there, stayed for a while, and then we ended up making our way back home after that.
Cool. I actually would like to hear that story. Really, I just want to make it as long as I possibly can because usually my interviews are actually a little too short. So, sure,
Okay.
I'd love to hear that story.
Okay, cool. Well, so it all started, part of the journey that we started to do is we knew that first and foremost, I mean, this was going to be awesome for us, but we also knew it was going to be really cool for our kids, right? So our oldest son, he's a little bit older than you, and our second son's a little bit younger than you. And so, you know, they're around your age. And one of the things we were teaching them is that, you know, they can hear God's voice. They can hear the Lord speaking to them, and they have the ability to exercise their faith. God gives us faith. It's a gift that he actually gives to each of us. And so we get to exercise that faith. So one morning we were sitting around our dining room table in the camper, and we were praying, and we were playing some worship music, and we started practicing praying and asking God to speak to us. And so we had done this several times, so it wasn't new to the kids. And this morning, in fact, well, I'll be honest, I hadn't even asked the kids to pray or to listen. But what happened was my oldest son, Joseph, he just spoke up and said, "Dad, I just saw something while we were praying and worshiping." He said, I kind of imagined in my mind, I saw us in Tallahassee, and I saw us meeting a gentleman in a wheelchair, and we were praying for him. And I wish Joseph were here right now because he could tell this story better than me. And he said it was at a Publix in Tallahassee. And we thought, wow, well, that's really cool. And we knew, okay, well, we were planning on going through Tallahassee anyways, so that just was kind of a confirmation for us. So this was like 3 or 4 days before we actually got to Tallahassee. So fast forward to Tallahassee. We had stayed the night in Tallahassee. We were in our truck, and we were getting ready to head out of town. Well, the gas light came on. And when you're driving a camper and your gas light comes on, it's not like, oh, cool, I got another 20, 30 miles. It's like, no, you got to be on the lookout because you may or may not find a gas station that can fit your RV. And you don't know, you know, yeah, it's a risky situation. So you don't want to run out of gas. So I'm very stressed out. I'm driving through the middle of the city, and I'm looking for gas stations. And I'm also trying to find the most affordable price because gas was not cheap at that time. So I find, I'm trying to look at that. My wife's looking at that. We're driving through the city, And all of a sudden
Sorry, everybody. He's kind of freezing up, but he will continue when the Wi-Fi gets better.
Will, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there. You were kind of freezing up.
I'm sorry. I had a phone call that interrupted me.
Oh,
let me see if I can go to. Okay. So there we go. Okay. So we're driving through Tallahassee. I pull in the gas station. Guess what? I get there and I see a gentleman, and God puts it on my heart he's pumping his gas, and God puts it on my heart to go talk to him. So I go talk to the guy. His name is Angel. Okay. So I started sharing the gospel with him and sharing the love of Jesus. I offer to pray for him. He's very receptive. He gets prayer. So I'm praying for him. I wrap up. Well, another guy comes over, and he had been standing outside the gas station, and he said, "Hey man, I saw what you did." He said, "I would like to pray for you." I said, "Really? Okay, cool, man." And so he started praying for me. Well, his name is Malachi. So Malachi is praying for us. So as this happens, a torrential downpour begins. Rain comes out of nowhere. And when rain starts happening, there's a gentleman that had been on the street corner in a wheelchair with a sign asking for help and money. He and his friend come underneath the covering of the gas station where we are, and we're praying. Well, right then I hear this banging on my car window, and Joseph rolls down the window and says, Dad, that's the guy that I saw. And I was like, no way. I said, come on, let's go. So he hops out of the car. We go over. We introduce ourselves to this gentleman, and guess what his name is, Will?
What?
Angel. His name is Angel. 2 angels and a Malachi. And when we looked up Malachi, the meaning of Malachi, guess what Malachi means?
I actually don't know. What is it?
Angel or messenger. So here, we're in a gas station in Tallahassee. We meet this gentleman. We start to pray for him. It was such an amazing experience. And we prayed for him. He's weeping. He prayed.
It's okay. Maybe his phone call got called back again.
Sorry about that. I got another phone call.
It's okay. It's okay.
So that's the Tallahassee story. My son heard the Lord. And then my son, he did say this. He said, Dad, I'm confused. He said, it didn't happen at a Publix. I thought it was going to happen at a Publix. I said, well, let's pray about that. And then he said, God, you know what? I know why. It's because God said it needs to be made public. This story is going to be made public. And I believe that's the calling, that we young people, I want to encourage them to hear from the Lord and go after the things of the Lord, just like you're doing, Will. You're stepping out in faith by making this YouTube channel. How many people would come up with a dozen reasons why they couldn't do it, right? I mean, it's not easy. There's challenges that you're going to face. You may want to do it, but the thing is, you got to actually step out and do it. How many people would say, oh, I want to get in an RV and drive wherever the Lord leads me? Yeah, we want to do those things, but it takes faith to step out and actually do them, and God can move and meet you right there. It's childlike faith. So, Will, you're an example of that too, man.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. That story was amazing. I really liked it, and every bit of it was amazing.
Thanks, buddy.
So I forgot to ask this question earlier. Actually, what was the best part and the worst part about traveling in an RV?
Okay, that's a good question, because it's not all peaches and cream. Let me tell you that, Will. It is hard work. Every time you want to get your camper ready to go, it is work. You got to get everything ready. You got to get your car hooked up. Every day I'd be out there sweating in the morning, And then you're driving and you're stressed out because you're driving this big rig and your family's in the car and you're concerned about, you know, you got to be super careful. You're watching your car to make sure your car's in good condition. So it's just a lot of things to think about. And it can be very stressful. So it is a lot of hard work and stressful. And honestly, there were times in Florida where our little air conditioning on our camper could barely keep up with the Florida heat. And we were just sweating inside of our tiny little camper, and so hot. Sometimes you're limited on where you can go. And so there was a lot of challenges that came with it. So I'd say those were the hard things. But at the same time, I'll tell you this, Will, it was worth every second of those difficult moments, because we made memories that were going to last a lifetime. And God used that season of our life to build our faith, to build our children's faith, and to believe him for bigger and bigger things, and really be able to step out. So that's probably, I would say, the worst was the work. The best was just the family time. We spent more time as a family. We explored. Our kids got to see parts of the country, and we went to state capitals, and we went to monuments, and we did a lot of road schooling. Even though it was summertime, we did a lot of school during that time, because there was just so much to learn and take in. So highly, highly recommend it. Not easy, but worth it.
Wow, I love that. You are right. Stuff like that is worth it, but it's not easy. But I have a question for you.
Sure.
Yo-yos. How did you get yo-yoing?
That's a pretty random thing, isn't it? It's a funny story. So yeah, my first job, I used to be a professional yo-yo man. And you might ask, how does one become a professional yo-yo man? Well, it's kind of a funny story. As a kid, I liked yo-yos. I'd play with them, but I wasn't obsessed with them. They weren't a major thing in my life, but I would always have a few every once in a while. But when I was in college, my wife and I were married, and my wife was working at a local school. Well, she had a guy came in there and visited their school, and he did a whole school assembly. And the whole program was about 45 minutes. He was doing yo-yo tricks, awesome yo-yo tricks. He was doing magic tricks. He was telling stories that were hilarious, and the kids and the teachers were cracking up. She just said, man, it was so much fun. It was the best assembly she had ever seen in her life. And she could also tell that this guy, because of what he was talking about and how he was talking about it, she knew that he was a Christian. She knew that he loved the Lord and loved these kids. And so she could see Jesus in this guy. So she went up to him afterwards and she said, hey, I got to tell you, like, I can tell you're a Christian, aren't you? And he goes, yeah, actually I am. She goes, I knew it. I could just tell by the way, what you were talking about and how you were doing it. And she says, my husband would love this. And he says, really? Well, have your husband give him this yo-yo and have him in my card and have him give me a call. So I remember she called me that day and she said, you're not going to believe what happened. She started telling me over the phone. Well, she gets home and she shows me this yo-yo and she shows me the card and she's telling me all about it and she's so excited. And I said, okay, well, what the heck, what do I got to lose? I'll call this guy and just start a conversation. So I call him and he says, yeah, I work for this company. I'm one of like 14 guys that are all over the country. And this is our full-time job. We go to schools, we do this school assembly, and we use yo-yo tricks, magic tricks, and storytelling to entertain kids and share a positive message with them. I was like, this is amazing. So we started talking because I was really interested and I didn't know what I wanted to do after college. So long story short, I ended up getting a job with the same company and I became a professional yo-yo man. And within 1 year, I traveled to hundreds and hundreds of schools. I went to 17 states. I saw over 200,000 students, principals, and teachers and school staff. I even got to go to England and perform in schools in England and travel all over England into Scotland and just had a blast. So that's how I got started as a professional yo-yo person.
Whoa, that is a lot.
Yeah.
Really interesting too. And I have to say something. Viewers,
Yeah.
you are in for a treat because Mr. Joe has agreed to show us a few yo-yo tricks.
That's right. I'm going to do my best. I'm a little rusty, okay? I haven't been a professional yo-yo man for over 10 years, but I still like to break out my yo-yos every once in a while. So I actually brought a few with me on this trip because I knew we were going to be having a call. So do you want to see a few of the yo-yos that I have?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So they're all from the same company, the company I used to work for. So this is one that we used in our show. It's shaped like, you know, a tire, 2 different tires put together. And this one is a Super Yo Turbo Tread. It's pretty fun, but it's kind of your standard shape yo-yo. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have a few what we would call like butterfly style yo-yos. This one is kind of one of my favorite, just for fun. It's not the most like highest performance yo-yo I have, but it's really, I like it because number one, it glows in the dark. Number two, it has these little plastic plates on here, and you can actually take those out and you could put in like a picture of something if you want it on either side. And it's just fun. It's got a good feel. And I'll show you what that yo-yo is like here in a second. I've got this one, which is more of a high performance yo-yo. It's an accelerator. And again, it's from the same company I used to work for. And it's a butterfly shape. And this one comes with a neon green string, which is pretty cool when you're performing, because if you want to do string tricks, you want people to be able to see the color of the string and see the string brightly. So this one is pretty sweet as well. I like it. It is, number one, it has glitter in it. So there's blue glitter on this side and gold glitter on this side. And what's cool about this, it's called a triple play, because you can actually unscrew this and you can turn it around, like flip the pieces around to make it more of like a traditional style yo-yo. Or you can leave it like the butterfly, or you can actually flip one and leave the other one the way that it is to make it just another interesting, unique way to play with it. So it's pretty cool that it's pretty variable. And Will, I've got some exciting news for you.
What?
I've actually got a yo-yo and a yo-yo holster that like clips onto your belt loop or something like that. And see this holster right here that holds the yo-yo? I've got that, and I'm going to hang on to this because I'm hoping one day we're going to head back down to Florida, and I'm going to give this to you as a thank you for letting me be on your show.
Wow, thank you for doing that.
Sure thing, man. No problem. All right, so you want to see a few tricks?
Sure.
All right. I'm in my camper, like you said, so I'm going to do my best. And like I said, it's been about 10 years. So since I've really spent a lot of time throwing a yo-yo. So hopefully I don't have a ton of ceiling room in here, but hopefully I can do a few tricks for you. So this is the one I mentioned. It's the glow in the dark one. Okay. So this one's just kind of fun. Throw it down, let it spin. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could give you a few tips, and I'll do that. Maybe when I come back and I actually give you your yo-yo, we could do a new one, and I can give a few beginner tips on how to get started yo-yoing.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. So yeah, this is a fun one. You could do like an elevator. Let's see. I'll switch out to another one. This is that tire one.
Mm-hmm.
This one's good for, this is good for like doing loops. So one cool thing you can do is when you throw down, it just comes right back up. But if you get good at flicking your wrist at the end, you can make it come down and flick it right back over to do a few flip-flops. Like that.
Cool.
You can also shoot it straight forward, okay? So watch this. You ready?
Yeah. Whoa. Cool.
Yeah. All right. And let's see. Let's get the accelerator out. So what are a few tricks? Do you know any tricks? Have you ever heard of any tricks?
Actually, I don't know any tricks.
Okay. Well, let me see if I can set this up to where I can show you. All right. Can you see me?
Mm-hmm.
Can you see this countertop right here?
Yeah.
All right. This one, walk the dog.
Cool.
That's walk the dog. You can do that on the ground. Let's do, ooh, have you ever been to Paris?
No, actually, no. I'd like
Well, do you know what's in Paris?
No? Besides the Eiffel Tower. I know the Eiffel Tower is in there, but I don't.
Oui, oui, the Eiffel Tower.
Wow!
So there's the Eiffel Tower. Let's see if I used to be able to make a star. Let me see. Oh yeah, there it is.
Cool!
You see the star?
Yeah!
Hey, and I hope you don't mind. I'm a little hungry. I forgot to eat a good lunch before I came on here. If it's okay with you, I'm just gonna make some quick spaghetti, okay? So I'm gonna throw my yo-yo down. I'll put together my noodles right here. There's the spicy meatball, and I'll eat it like this. Yum. So yeah, if I were outside, I could do some more tricks like around the world. I might be able to do a roller coaster trick, or maybe fling things around like that. But tell you what, we'll have to save that for next time. Maybe when I come to Florida, you and I will go through a whole like how-to yo-yo video, and then I'll teach you some tricks. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome.
And I just have one more question before we end the show. Is there any way people can get involved in your ministry?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a few options right now. So we just are still in the process of launching. We have a lot of people that want to see the Agape Center happen in the New River Valley. We have a lot of churches that are already partners with us, and we have a website. So the number one thing I would say is this: go visit our website and sign up for our newsletter. Okay, the website is www.agapecenternrv, as in New River Valley.org. So agapecenternrv.org, and you can scroll all the way down and sign up for our mailing list. There we'll be giving updates on the progress and how things are going. And if God puts it on your heart to either volunteer by showing up and giving of your physical time or your prayer time, that would be amazing. There's lots of ways that we can have people get plugged in. And the way I envision the Agape Center in the New River Valley is it's a big old banqueting table, and there's room at that table for everyone. So if you've got an idea, if you've got something you want to do, come on, let's get together and let's make a difference for the kingdom of God in the New River Valley. The third thing would be, hey, if you want to financially support us, number one, my wife and I live by faith. People support us to be able to do the ministry that we do. And without our support team, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing. So number one, you can individually support us as a family so that we can keep doing what we're doing if God puts that on your heart. Number two, you can financially support just the Agape Center. And if you give to the Agape Center, 100% of that will go to the Agape Center and towards meeting needs in our community. So, but contact us through our website. You can follow us on social media, Facebook and Instagram. Just look up Agape Center NRV and you'll find us. And if you're interested in connecting with me and learning more about my ministry and what it is that I do and how we live by faith and how we encourage others, find me on social media too. You can find me at Joe Davidson on Instagram, Joe Davidson on Facebook. And we would love to connect with you and tell you more and hear your story. And who knows, maybe even visit one day in our camper.
Okay, that is great. I will support in any way I can. And I hope all you viewers will too. And that is all the questions I have. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, man. It's been really awesome hanging with you, and I'm looking forward to the next time.
I am too, and you are welcome. Everybody, that is a wrap on Will Talks episode, let's see, 6. This is my 6th episode. If you want to be interviewed, post your name and why you should be interviewed in the comments below. See you next time. Bye!